All right, cool. So I'd like to meet everybody on the call. Uh, please drop your name and where you're joining us from. My name is Damilola, and I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria. And I'd like to meet every other person as well. So please drop your name and, of course, where you are joining us from today. Your name and where you're joining us from. All right. Welcome, guys. Olariwaju from Ibadan. You're welcome. Victor from England. It's good to see you as well. Let's keep going. Let me know your name and, of course, where in the world you are tuning in from today. Bowale from Lagos. Good to see you. All right. I'm seeing a lot of names. Ade from Texas. Ola Bioye from Ireland. Tomiwa from Lagos. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So per usual, you know that this is a session where you're going to be learning a lot and also gaining a lot of knowledge. So if you know somebody that you know are very interested in their growth and they are not here, feel free to copy the link and share with them. All right. So I'm going to very quickly introduce the session, what we are here for today, and then the special offer that we have for everybody on this call today. Another thing I like to do is to know the newcomers. So if this is the first time you're going to be joining any of the Analytics sessions, please drop a 1 in the chat. If this is the first time you're going to be joining any of our sessions, I want you to drop. That's because I have something special, something light for you. All right. So if this is the first time you'll be joining, please drop a 1 in the chat. So just one person, Olabioye. All right, it's good to see. Oh, we have a lot of new people. All right. Thank you for joining, guys. And it promises to be worth your time. Okay. So before we get started, into the core practical part of today's session, I'm going to introduce the company putting together this session. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and, we'll just dive straight into it. Okay, so let me know when you can see my screen. All right, let me know when you can see my screen. You can just drop a thumbs up for me in the chat if it's clear, you can see clearly. Just let me know. You can just drop a thumbs up for me so that I know that we are all good to go. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So today we are going to be focusing on 2 key tech career paths. We're going to be focusing on 2 key tech career paths. That's the HR, which we refer to as HR analytics, and then financial analytics, which we refer to as FA. Okay, so the main of the broad topic for today is harnessing Power BI for strategic HR and financial decisions to drive organizational excellence. If you're here today, probably means you want to gather knowledge on how to use Power BI to function as an HR analyst or a financial analyst. All right, so what we're going to be doing here today is showing you how you can use Power BI to harness strategic HR, human resource, and financial decisions to drive or boost the excellence of your organization or the organization that you're looking to get into in the future. All right, so the company or the amazing people putting this amazing session together is called Analytics. All right, and it's a company, an educational technology company focused on providing specialized learning in specialized training in technology skills and delivering comprehensive data consulting services. So what we do is help people build capacity in different tech career paths. With over 4 years of experience, we've built talent over the technology workforce, and we've helped over 2,000 plus people transition from the classroom into their first job, literally into their first role in tech. All right, and this is across different continents, across different countries, states, and cities of the world, like Canada, like the United Kingdom, Europe, actually in general, Africa, Asia, speaking of countries, Nigeria, and so on and so forth, right? And we are very committed to making the technology sector a very accessible place for everybody. So regardless of your background, regardless of if you have tech skills or science background or you don't have science background, regardless of if you've gone through a tech training program before or not, as soon as you're part of Tenalytics, we are committed to making sure that every tech skill is made accessible to you. Okay, and then we provide experiential training in data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, cybersecurity and AI engineering, Scrum Master, and what we are here for today, financial analytics and HR analytics. And our team of instructors are from different parts of the globe, diverse sectors, diverse backgrounds. These people they have the knowledge, they have the experience, and what they come to do is to share this knowledge and experience with you. All right. So we have facilitators from global companies like Apple, like McKinsey, Microsoft, Google, Sahara. It goes on and on and on like that. All right. And these people come with, of course, wealth of real world experience to imbibe in you. Okay, so you can follow us on LinkedIn at Tenalytics. You can check us out on our social media pages, on Instagram at Tenalytics, on Facebook at Tenalytics, on Twitter at Tenalytics. You can also visit our website at www.tenalytics.io, where we have so much that you can, gain and read up on. All right. So introducing your facilitators for today. All right, is my voice loud? Oluwatomilola, I can see a comment from someone saying my voice is not loud. Can you guys hear me clearly? Please just drop a thumbs up for me if you can hear me clearly. All right, thank you very much. All right, fantastic. So like I said earlier, my name is Damilola and I am a data analytics and business analysis expert. All right. I have over 5 years of experience cutting across several areas within the data ecosystem, covering data analytics and business analysis. And I currently manage the training operations here at Tenalytics. I have experience spanning across retail and supply chain as a data analyst, FMCG as a data business analyst, and of course the EdTech as a data analyst. And I have personally helped over 2,000 participants transition into tech. And I'm also like all for women transitioning into tech. Of course, we need to bridge the gap and, tip the scale. All right. So you can follow me on LinkedIn at Oluwadamilola Ajumobi. Then for our second host for today, we have Mary Anene. Mary is a data analytics and HR analytics expert, and with over half a decade of experience in data analytics, HR analytics, and financial analytics. Mary has expertise cutting across technologies such as Power BI, Excel, Tableau, Python, and SQL, right? SQL, okay? So as a senior data associate at Tenalytics, she has helped over 1,065 people transition into tech, literally from not knowing anything about tech at all to becoming big people in tech. And she has experience across various industries, including legislative body of the House of Representatives, importation and marketing, NGOs, and of course, EduTech. So you can, link up with Mary on LinkedIn at Mary Anene. All right. So very quickly, what are we doing here today? I said earlier that if you're here today, it means that you want to know how to use HR analytics and financial analytics to drive decisions in your company, in your organization. So number one, we're going to be harnessing Power BI for strategic HR and financial decision making. And this is going to be very hands-on, very practical. So best believe that you're here today to learn something new, something exciting, very practical, very hands-on, and we'll get to it in the next minute. Number two, we're going to be looking at who a financial analyst is, and of course, who we refer to as an HR analyst, because it's very important to differentiate and also spell out the roles of these people so you can know the difference between the HR analyst and the financial analyst. And then we'll talk you through the skills that you need to get started in any of these roles. Number 3, we'll introduce you to our upcoming cohort starting July 6th this year, 2024. All right. And then we'll, go through the success stories and how you can also be pinned on our billboard in the next couple of months. These are the things that we're going to be doing in the next hour. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to be handing over to Mary to take us through the practical aspect. Right. Hi, Mary.
All right. Hi, Damilola. Good evening. I hope you can hear me and see me. All right. So thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I'm so excited to be here this evening. I hope each and every one of us are as excited as I am right now. Okay, because we're about to get started, get hands-on and do some practical that involves the work of a HR analyst as well as the work of a financial analyst. All right. So if you're ready to get started with the practical aspect tonight, let me see you type in the chat. Yeah. All right. Let me see you type in the chat. Yeah. Okay. If you are ready. Okay. I'm not seeing any response yet. I'm not sure you guys are ready. I've not seen enough response. I'm not seeing enough response yet. I'm not seeing that. All right. We're having some flow right now. Okay, so I believe you guys are ready and fully excited to get into work today. All right, so before we get started, I would like us to have just a little bit of an introduction as to the practical that we are going to be doing so that we can easily flow with the entire process. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with us so that we can get into the next stage. Okay. All right. I believe we can all see my screen, yes?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So today we are going to be working on a special case study. All right. This case study, we are going to be helping ABC Corp to enhance its HR and financial decision making. All right. So basically, we want to use a kind of a business trend to help us understand exactly how to apply our skill sets in a realistic setting, which is why we have this particular case study. Okay. So we are going to be looking at this company called ABC Corp. ABC Corp is a small size company with employees spread across multiple departments, including sales, IT, HR, finance, marketing, and so on, right? This company has been experiencing a high rate of attrition. They're having issues with employees leaving their organization, all right? We also want to help them understand how to manage their budgets effectively. We just want to look at how their budget differences has been so far, if they are spending more than their actual budget and all that, right? Once we find that out, we'll be able to help them make better financial decisions, all right? So we are going to help this company look into its data sets, all right? Build a full, active, and interactive report, okay? And then help them to make decisions as to areas or reasons why they are having high attrition rates, detect the actual areas where they are having these high attritions, okay, and also help them to understand how they've been performing in terms of budget and actual amount management within the organization, all right? So we're going to be doing what? A little bit of HR analytics and a little bit of financial analytics, all right? So we have two key questions that we're going to be answering today, okay? We have two key questions that we're going to be answering today. The first one is we're going to be calculating attrition rates. We'll also be looking at the number of active and terminated employees and department attrition, all right? We'll be looking at attrition rate. Don't worry, we're going to see what an attrition rate is all about. We'll also be looking at the number of active employees within this organization and number of employees that have left this organization. That's the terminated employees, okay? And then we're also going to be looking at attrition by department, okay? Then once we are done with that, we'll go ahead and look at budgeted amounts and actual amount over the month, all right? Budgeted amount and actual amount over the month, all right? So let's get started. But before I get started, I would like to know, a lot of us are on this call already, and I believe we have 1 or 2 reasons why we joined this call, meaning that we are very much interested in a particular career path that we are working on tonight, all right? So I want to see us in the comment section, type the exact career path that we came here for tonight, all right? So if you are here for the HR, type in HR. If you are here for FA, type in FA. Awesome, I can see a couple of HR already. HR. Okay. So we are the FA guys. All right, I can see that already. Fantastic. Okay, so tonight is going to be an interesting session. Benedicta says HR all the way. Wow. All right, then we are going to see about that. All right, so this is our case study for today. We want to make sure that everyone gets a little bit of, a piece of the cake from this particular case study. All right. So before we get started, we definitely have to download our data set, okay? We definitely have to download our data set. So our data set is in our Google Sheets, and I believe we're going to be getting a link right now to download this particular data set, okay? We're going to be getting a link to download this particular data set. I'm also going to go ahead and open it up so that we can look at what we are working with tonight, okay? So let me go ahead and do that. I want to share my entire screen. Okay. All right. So I can see the link is already there for us to use, okay? So I'll just click here and get to my data set immediately. Okay, so this is exactly what our data set looks like today. Okay, the first thing we have here is our HR data set. All right, is what our HR data set. Our HR data set is basically right now recorded in different rows and columns. All right, if we look at it from here, we won't be able to make sense of it. I can see a lot of us are already in the Google Sheet already trying to download it. All right. So I'm going to walk us through how to download that very quickly so that we can all be on track, okay? So what you have to do here is to go to your file, all right? Go to your file. You can see my cursor hovering right there, okay? So go to where you have file, click on it, okay? So once you click on it, you click on that drop down, you will have access to a list of options right here. Let me go back to file, okay? You have access to a list of options. Now, what you want to do here is to go to the area where you have downloads, all right? Now you can go ahead and download this particular worksheet in Microsoft Excel, and that will just take it from here and put it in your file explorer, basically under downloads, all right? Basically under downloads. I'm going to go ahead and download mine, okay? I'm going to go ahead and download mine. Just click on this Excel right here. So go to File, go to Downloads, and Microsoft Excel, okay? File, Downloads, Microsoft Excel. I believe we all got that, yeah? All right, so I'll click on Microsoft Excel and I would have my download going up right here. Awesome. Okay, so back to our data sets, all right? So we have our HR data sets and we have our financial data set. These two data sets has come in from ABC Corp, and they want us to help them out to understand some key issues, all right? First is the issue of attrition, and the next is their budgeting. How well are they doing with their budgeting so far, right? So our HR data set basically consists of, a very few sets of columns. The first one is our employee ID. Then we have what? Let me just expand everything right here, okay? First one is our employee ID. The next, we have our department information, right? That's the department within the organization. We also have our hiring dates, right? The date at which these employees were hired into the organization. Then if you look over here, you also have termination dates, right? Termination dates basically has to do with the date at which these employees were taken out of the organization. Maybe they left or they were fired, all right? So these are the records of those dates when this event happened, all right? Now we also have our performance score, right? Each of these employees are rated according to their performance, their job performance within their roles, okay? So we have those records here. I think this particular one is rated 100, okay? So you can see 80, you can see 92, and so on and so forth, all right? So you can see diverse individuals with diverse performance score. We have our salary, right? How much are they being paid? And we also have our salary class, all right? Our salary class is basically describing the salary column, all right? So if a particular employee is being paid a particular range, maybe like 50,000 per annum, okay, you get to be classified under low salary earners. And if you go a little bit higher, where you have 70,000 per annum, you get into the middle class salary earners, and so on, all right? So you have the high salary earners, about 80,000 to 100,000 per annum, all right? So that's the classification. So I believe we all understand what our HR data set contains, all right? So when we start analyzing it, we won't be surprised about where one of the information we are using came from, all right? So this is what our raw data looks like, just, information here and there, okay? And we're going to see how we can turn this into an actual report that we can use to make informed decision, all right? Now for our financial data. Our financial data involves our financial records, right? So first of all, it talks about, it has the date at which we actually performed a particular transaction or a particular business, record, okay? Then we have our weekdays, the day of the week which these transactions were carried out. We also have the week number. The week number basically interprets what? The actual number of weekday, all right? So we have weekday here, and then we have week number. So if you put your dates on a symmetrical level, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you decide to give them numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, right? You realize that if you put it down like that, you realize that Wednesday is number 3, Thursday is number 4, okay, Friday is number 5, which is why we have these week numbers right here. That is exactly what this week number translates to, okay? Then we also have the accounts. Okay, the account is basically which department's account is this record under. So we have the sales, the marketing, the IT, diverse departments within this particular organization has been recorded here. We also have the category of these transactions. Okay, so was it an income or was it an expenses? Okay, income being the revenue. When we generate revenue, it's a plus to the business. When we have an expenses, it's a plus, but still a financial minus, all right? It's a plus to gain more, customers or expand the business, but then it's still a financial minus to the business, okay? So then we have figures here that describe the planning of our financial prowess within the organization. So we have our budget amount. Our budget amount is actually the amount of money that we planned to spend for each of these projects, or the amount of money that we plan to incur in each of these financial processes, all right? Then we also have our actual amount. Our actual amount basically records information, all right? Our actual amount records information that has to do with the amount of money we actually spent for that business process, or the amount of money we incurred or gained for that business process. All right. So we said we budgeted a particular amount, and then we incurred these actual expenses. So in some of these months or some of these days, we're able to meet our targets in terms of the budget that we made. Sometimes we spent less, and sometimes we spent above budget. All right. So this variance information here just tells us the difference in terms of expenses. All right. So right here you have 200. 200 is positive. Okay. 200 is positive. I'm sorry. Don't worry. I don't think there's need for you to record locally. You are going to get this recording, all right, at the end of the class. So you don't have to worry about recording. So make sure to fill out the forms that is being sent in the chat right now. If you fill it out, you get a personalized message from us with this particular video, everything fully recorded for you, as well as the materials that was used in this session. All right. Okay. Okay, so the variance column here, it basically just contains the difference between the budget and actual amount. So you see our, positive symbols or our positive figures. Our positive figures has to do with all the budgets that we did not exceed, right? Then if you see your negative figures represent all the budgets that we overspent. So we overspent by, let's say, $50, we overspent by 100, and so on and so forth. We also have our variance. This is just the percentage representation of this particular column, all right? The percentage difference between our budget amount and our actual amount, okay? So now that we fully have a good understanding of what we are going to be dealing with tonight, I believe it's time for us to get into Power BI. But before we get into Power BI, let's look at what we are going to be rounding off with at the end of this session. Okay, so we are going to be looking at, all right, give me a minute. Okay, so we are going to be looking at achieving this exact result that we have here, okay? This exact result that we have here. And from this dashboard, we'll be using it to, find out areas that we have issues and areas that we need to be cautious of in terms of planning our financial budget, or also taking care of employees' well-being, all right? So like I said, we are dealing with the HR effect and the financial effect as well for ABC Corp. All right, so let's get into Power BI. Okay, so for those of us that don't know what Power BI is a business intelligence tool. Power BI is what? A business intelligence tool. If you want to go on and get your Power BI interface, all you have to do is just go into your web browser and type in Power BI desktop. All right, Microsoft Power BI desktop. All right, and it will take you to a page where you can download this particular software onto your PC, and you can also work with us. All right, but if you don't have the time or the energy to do that right now, you can always practice after this session. All right, I want you guys to pay attention, and we can walk through all of this together. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to open up a blank paged report. All right, a blank page report. Okay, so Power BI interface looks very, easy to use, very nice, very interactive and all that. Okay, so we are going to see how easy it is to use actually. So we don't just talk about it, we see exactly how it works. All right, so let me just go ahead and expand this. Okay, let me go ahead and expand this so we can see it properly. All right, so the first thing we do in a data analytics process is to ensure that we get our data from our source. All right, remember earlier when we opened up our data set, I was opportune to download my data set. Now my data set is going to be where? It's going to be in my File Explorer. All right, it's going to be in my File Explorer. So now if I want to bring in my data set, I can easily connect with that data set from my local device. All right, from my local device. Okay, so there are millions of ways or thousands of ways that you can connect your data sets into your Power BI interface. All right, But today we are going to be using a very straightforward method, which is using our Excel spreadsheet. All right. We're going to be using what? Our Excel spreadsheet. So let's get into that. All right. So you see this icon here, this one I just clicked on right now. It's called Get Data. It's called Get Data because literally that's where you get the options or the tools that you can bring in data from. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And even from the expansion here, you can already see at least 8 to 9 different data connectors. All right. 8 to 9 different data connectors. There are a lot more. All right. This more is not just for decoration. It's for the fact that there are actually a lot more data connectors that you can connect with. So imagine what you can do with Power BI. Although tonight, let's work with our most commonly used connector, which is our Excel workbook. Okay, so I'm going to click on Excel, right? So let's imagine that we're going for shopping right now and we want to get some items that we're going to use to prepare a meal. All right, so we're going to go into this place and get the required items that we want to use to prepare that meal. So I'm going to click on the Excel workbook, and the Excel workbook, okay, like I mentioned earlier, once you download that data set, all right, once you download your data set, immediately you should find it under your downloads in your File Explorer. All right, so now I've opened up my File Explorer. Immediately I clicked on Excel workbook. It opens up my File Explorer for me to locate that particular data set. And if you look right here, I think I can just expand this a little bit more. Okay, so if you look right here, you would see the ABC Corp HR and financial data set. All right, ABC Corp HR and financial data sets. Okay, ABC Corp HR and financial data set. I'm trying to see how I can make this bolder for us to see it better. Okay, all right, let me just move this. All right, I believe we can see this a little bit much better. Let me use a larger icon. All right, so this is our Excel workbook. So if I hover on it right now, you will also see that the file type that we have here is saying Microsoft Excel worksheet. All right, so sometimes, like I said, we have different data connectors, and sometimes you might think because a particular sheet looks like this, it's actually an Excel sheet. All right, but it's not. All right, so that's why I just wanted us to like look at the sheet type name. All right, so it says here Microsoft Excel workbook. Some worksheet that can look like this are usually, let's say, CSV, and it can also be in a file type or whatever format that it might be in. All right, so if you connect to it, it might pop up as error. So make sure you've downloaded your data set as a Microsoft Excel workbook to be able to take this particular step. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select that particular data set, click open, okay, and bring in my information. All right, click open and bring in my information. So immediately my data set starts to load, okay, and I'm going to see a navigator very soon. I'm going to see a navigator very soon pop up on my screen, and I can go ahead and inspect the data that is coming into Power BI for me to work on. All right, so the first thing I need to do is to ensure that I'm bringing in the correct data. All right, the first thing I need to do is to ensure that I'm bringing in the correct data. All right, so if you are still with me, let me see you type yes in the chat. If you are still following, let me see you type yes in the chat. Amazing. Good to have you guys here once again. Good to have you guys. Amazing people. All right, so we have our data navigator right now opened up. Okay, so the thing about this data navigator is that it helps you to see exactly the kind of data you want to bring in before you even start importing it and working with it. All right, so right now I'm going to just go ahead and click on it. Okay, we have our financial data first. So to view what is inside this spreadsheet, I'll just check this, click on this checkbox, right? I'll click on it and it gives me a very clear preview of what I'm going to be working with very soon. All right. So as I'm looking at it, I've seen that it's exactly what we just walked through in the Google Sheet. All right. Exactly what we just walked through in the Google Sheet. So I have the correct data. All right. So if you do this and you realize that you have the wrong data set, just go ahead and click this cancel. Okay. You see my cursor hovering over the cancel sign right now. Okay. So just go ahead and click that cancel and you're good. All right. You're good. You go ahead, get data again, and you flow. All right. The next data set we have to inspect is our HR data. The same thing I did right now, I'm going to check on that HR data. Okay. So let's see the preview again. Exactly. We have the correct data type. Obviously, we can already see ABC core, HR, and everything, but we need to be sure, just in case you have multiple ABC cores within your local device. All right. So now that we are sure that we have the correct data set, let's go into something called Power Query. All right. Power Query Editor is a data transformer. All right. Not like the transformer that we watch in the cinema. It's a data transformer. Although it works something like that, it transforms data from a previous, with all the, should I call it discrepancies, right? With all the discrepancies in your data, like the null values, the incorrect data, inconsistent data, and all that. It helps you to make sure everything is clean and ready for you to analyze. All right. So let's get into that Power Query and see what we can do there. All right. Although our data set looks good, so we might not be doing so much in our Power Query editor. Okay. All right, so I'm waiting for this interface to load as well so that we can see exactly what we are working with. All right, so this is exactly what the Power Query editor looks like. All right, this is exactly what the Power Query editor looks like. Power Query editor basically gives you all the tools required to clean your data. Don't worry, I might not be able to get into everything in actual details, but I want you guys to be able to understand what this does, right? So first of all, when you look at this particular spreadsheet, I have a very nice detailed profile, information under my column headers right here, okay? So right here, I have an information telling me that I have 4% valid data, okay? I have an error of 0%, an empty of 96%, all right? So the first thing that this Power Query editor does is it makes my life much more easier, okay? I don't have to start scrolling down back and forth to find out if I have 96% empty cells, all right? So immediately I see this, I want to check if this is a consistent challenge or it's just peculiar to this employee ID column, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and scroll, okay? And as I'm scrolling, I'm also noting that this 96% is very much common across my data set, all right? So now that I've detected that my data set contains null values, what do? I immediately go into the fact that I need to take out this null value. And in a very simple step, I can easily just filter my data, all right? I can easily just filter my data. Now I'll just go ahead, click on this button right here, okay? And take out the null option that we have here, all right? Take out the null option, okay? So I'll uncheck it, uncheck my null values here, and go ahead and click OK, okay? Go ahead and click OK, and everything comes back to normal. Let's see. Awesome. We have 100% valid data right now, error 0%, empty 0%, which is amazing. 100% valid data. Now, if you look at this termination date, you will notice that what? we still have 56% empty data, all right? 56% empty data. Now, remember the reason why, remember we talked about this particular column being that these are the records of employees that have left the organization, right? Either they were fired or they decided to move on to another organization, all right? So the reason why we are going to be leaving the null values here is because not all the employees in this organization have left, all right? So where we have null, it indicates that those employees are still active and are still working for this organization, all right? They are still active and they are still working for this organization. So we are going to leave this right here, all right? So part of understanding data is also knowing when to clean it and when to leave it, all right? So unfortunately, we can't go into all the details, but at least from this explanation that I just gave, we understand exactly why this termination date column has to be the way it is, all right? It has to be the way it is right now. Okay, so let's look at our performance score, all right? Our performance score looks great, salary, great, and all that, all right? Everything looks great. Now, if you look at this area right here, we have all our recorded applied steps, right? Everything that we've done so far, Power Query has been recording it, all right? So just in case we have new data sets coming in into this particular spreadsheet, we won't have to go through the process of data cleaning again. It just automatically automates the process of data cleaning for us, and we don't have to go through this over and over again, okay? All right, so I think I can see a comment right there from someone that says, please, can you do the transformation again? Okay, please, can you do the transformation again? That's Abraham. And Emmanuel says, please, can you change string data to numeric data? All right, so by string data, Emmanuel means text data, all right? String data, Emmanuel means text data. So definitely you can change your string data into numeric. No, you can't change your string data into numeric data. Obviously, it's going to flag it as an error instantly, okay? So this particular data right here, but I can change my numeric data into string data, or rather into text data, okay? So let me quickly do exactly what Abraham asked for. He said he missed that particular step. So Abraham, just take note. So first of all, I'm going to go into my apply step and take out that filtered row, all right? Once I take out that filtered row, everything comes back to normal. So that step I just took to remove those null values, everything has gone completely, all right? So let's apply that step again. The first thing I did, all right, was to click on this drop down arrow, all right? So I clicked on that drop down arrow that extends to all the narrative of the data that I have in this particular column. The next thing I want to do here is to uncheck what the null value, all right? You can see the null is in bracket, telling me that this is where we have the actual records of all the empty cells, all right? So all I have to do here is just uncheck that particular button, okay? Uncheck it, and then we click on OK, all right? Uncheck it, and we click OK. Immediately I click OK, everything is sorted out, all right? Immediately I click OK, everything is sorted out. All right, so Antonia said, I don't know how we got to Power Query interface. Okay, so I would love to go back there to take that particular step, but because of time, I won't be able to take everyone's question immediately, all right? So we have this session recorded, Antonia, I think Benny as well. We have this session recorded, so you don't have to worry. Like I said, fill out the forms that are being shared in the chat right now so you can get the complete recordings, all right? Fill out the forms you are getting in the chat right now so you can get the complete recording, okay? So I don't want you guys to be left behind. We are working together, all right? So Power Query Editor, we got through it just from our Power BI interface, all right? And I'm also still going to show you how you can get to your Power Query once we get back into Power BI. Now, okay, back to our data set. we are done cleaning our HR data. Let's quickly inspect the financial data and see if we have any discrepancies to work on before we start analyzing, all right? So I'll click on the financial data, all right? I'll click on the financial data and let's see what our information says, all right? So we have here valid, 12%, empty, 88%. Like I said, want to make sure that this information is consistent throughout the data set, or it is peculiar to a particular row of data, all right? So I can see that we have 88% almost throughout our data set. Let me just scroll a little and see other areas as well, all right? Let me scroll a little. All right, consistency is 88% no, all right? So that means we still have to clean this particular data and remove our null values, all right? So I'll go ahead and click on this, okay? Expand the first column that I have there and do what? Uncheck the null values, all right? I'll uncheck the null values. I'll click OK, and all my null values should be gone. I should have 100% valid data right now. 100% valid data, 100% valid data, all through my data set, okay? All right, so Emmanuel is trying to clarify his question. He says, please, what I mean is, if numbers are stored in Excel as text, can you change them to numerics, okay, using Power BI? Absolutely, absolutely. So you see all these figures that are here saying 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, you can see 1, 2, 3, you can see 1.2. These are indicators that Power Query has automatically indicated this or automatically detected the contents of these columns, all right? So it might have been in text or even general within your Excel workbook. And once you come here, Power Query automatically detects it, all right? So in a situation whereby Power Query does not detect that particular information, what does it do? It puts it in text, definitely. But now you can easily just click on this drop down here. Okay, you can see this 1, 2, 3. That's just what I clicked on. All right, clicked on that drop down there and everything comes out. So you can just go here and select the actual data type that you want to use. All right, whole numbers are numerical values, decimal places. There are a lot more options of data types within Power Query. Okay, so you can just select the one that fits the description of the data set in your column. All right, so while we're on this page, why not talk about it? All right, so you can just access that from here directly. Okay, so let's move on from here. Okay, so we've been able to clean all our data set, and I think everything is now ready for us to move to the next stage, which is analyzing our data. Okay, so let's get on with that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on close and apply. All right, so you see this icon right here that says close and apply. I'll just hit that drop down arrow. All right, I'll hit that drop down arrow, and what do? I go ahead and click on close and apply, and we are fully done with Power Query. All right, let's get back to our Power BI desktop and help this business make some decisions. Okay, so if you guys are still following, if you are still here, let me hear you say, or let me see you type, yeah, yeah. All right, type that in the chat right now. Type that in the chat. Amazing, 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 amazing. Taiwo says, yeah, yeah. I'm not sure that's what I said you should type, but all right, all right. Okay, okay, okay. Amazing, amazing. Amazing to have you guys here, as I mentioned earlier. Awesome. All right, please don't forget to fill that attendance form that is being passed around. That's the way you are going to get all the recordings that you need. All right, so please go ahead and fill those feedback or attendance forms. All right. So we are waiting for our data set to fully load into our Power BI desktop interface. All right, we are waiting for our information here. That's our financial data, our HR data, to fully load into our desktop right now. All right. So while we are waiting for that, all right. So I believe Tonya asked a question earlier about how to get to Power Query. All right. So aside from the method that we used initially from the get data method to the transform, right? There's another method you can use to get back into Power Query, all right? So imagine now that you get into Power BI and you realize that you didn't do some proper data cleaning. Now you have to find a way to clean your data, right? You might think you are stuck, that there's no other option, but there is, right? You can still get back into Power Query very easily. All you have to do is click on what? There's this button right here, all right? You can see transform data, all right? This particular button or icon, once you click on it, it takes you back to Power Query and you can have access to cleaning your data. You go back and do what? Close and apply, and you are good to go, all right? You go back and click on close and apply, and you are good to go, all right? So that's that. Okay, our data set is officially rounding off its loading. So let's just give it a minute and we can get back on track. Awesome. So our data set is now fully loaded. Okay, so very soon we are going to see our data set appear here under our data panel, all right? It's going to appear here under our data panel, giving us full access to all the columns within the data, and we can start visualizing. All right, but before we start visualizing, I would like to set my canvas because I want this canvas to be able to accommodate all the information that I have for us tonight. And I also want us to be able to see it very clearly, all right? So I want to make sure my canvas can accommodate those charts. So what do? I will go to my visualization panel right now. I'll just click on this format your canvas settings. This particular icon here, that's exactly what it says. Format your canvas setting. Okay, that's that. Format your canvas setting. So I'll go ahead and click on it. Okay, I'll go ahead and click on that. All right. And then I get access to options to actually format this particular canvas area where I'm going to be building my report. All right. So what do? I'll go ahead and click on canvas setting. And like I said, I want to expand this particular canvas before I start putting my reports there so we can see it very well. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is to change the type from default to custom so I can have access to working on the size. All right, so just a little tweak on the height right here. I want to change this height from 720 to what? 780. All right, 720 to 780. I think that's that. All right, very straightforward and easy to go about. All right, I'm changing this from 720 to 780. And then I want to also work on my vertical alignment. My vertical alignment is going to be what? From top to middle, right? From top to middle. So I'll just close that off because I'm good to go right now and I'm ready to work on some analysis, all right? So first things first, I'd like us to, quickly get an introduction to a particular or a special formula language that Power BI uses, all right? So most of us are familiar with Excel, right? We know how to use some Excel functions like sum function, divide, average and all that within Excel. Very, very easy and straightforward. Now in Power BI, we have a different language, and this language is called DAX, all right? Very, very similar to Excel. I mean, this is a Microsoft tool as well. So we have some similarities that makes it easier for you to transition between each of these tools. Okay, we're going to be applying that DAX, all right, in calculating some key areas that will help us to make good decision or plot the right kind of charts to give us the accurate, calculations that we need for this analysis, all right? So we're going to get started with that. First thing I'm going to do is just to create a tiny table right here that will accommodate those measures, all right? So we just want to keep them there, all right? So I'm going to click on enter data. Okay, enter data brings up this interface for me right here. Okay, enter data. Okay, then once it brings up this table, so this is enter data right here. I just want to make sure we see that for those of us following, enter data. All right, so once it brings out this interface, all I want to do here is just do what? Rename it. So I'll just name it key measures. All right, key measures. So the key measures I'm going to be using to analyze is exactly what I'm going to be applying right here, key measures. I'll go ahead and load, okay, so that I can create or I can add that new table into my data panel. So you can see the data sets that we have, financial data, HR data. Very soon you are going to see what? Key measures. All right, you are going to see key measures right here. Okay, so let's just give that a minute and it will appear right now. Okay, loading, loading. And we should be able to see that in a few seconds. All right, fantastic. So we have our key measures right here. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and do what? We are going to go ahead and, all right, so Ebere says she finds it difficult to work in Excel. Don't worry, we are going to give a detailed breakdown as to how you can also understand how to use Excel, all right, once we are done with this practical session. Okay, so we see these key measures right here. I'm just going to click on the body of text that says key measures, all right? Immediately I click on the body of text, you can see that these tabs here just changed instantly. Let me do that again, all right? Okay, so I have my home tab right here. You can see how it looks like. I click on the body of text again, and what happens? It changes to a different interface. Now, what it does is that it gives me access to what is called the table tools, all right? The table tools gives me options of what I can do if I need to do an extra calculation or I need to, create some additional informations within the table. What exactly do I want to do? Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I want to do some calculations, all right? I want to do some specific calculations. Now, the organization that we are working for tonight has asked us to find out the number of active employees and the number of employees that have left. Not just that, it wants us to find out the attrition rate. Okay, the attrition rate is basically the rate at which employees have left the organization. That's what it is, all right? The rate at which employees have left the organization. So let's get to that, all right? Let's get to that. All I have to do is to click on new measures. And the first thing I'm going to do is to calculate the total number of employees in that organization first, all right? Total number of employees in that organization. So I'm going to lay out my formulas very quickly, all right, so that we don't waste too much time. Then we start plotting exactly what the results are from those formulas, all right? So let me extend this a bit so that we can also see what I'm typing. Okay, like I said, first thing I'm going to calculate is what? The total employees. So I'll just give this measure a name first, total employees. Okay, total employees. Then I'll move on from there. What else do I want to say? Like I said, in Excel, you know how to use some functions. Simple, I'll just type in, I want to find out the sum, all right? Okay, or rather, the count, okay? Because I don't want to have the aggregate. I want to use a particular column to find out the number of employees. So if I use that column, I'm going to be getting an unrealistic figure. So it's better for me to use a count, all right? It's better for me to use a count. You know, when you use count, you just do 1, 2, 3, 4. No matter the kind of figure that that particular item contains, you count it as 1, all right? But if I use sum, if I have 5 here and I have 10 here, I have to add it up to make 15, all right? But if I have an item that has 5 and 10 and I say I just want to count, I will be counting that as 2, all right? So that's exactly what I want to ensure that we get here. So count, all right? I want to use, all right, let me use the distinct count. This distinct count function in DAX just gives us what? It helps us to count each information once. So if you have duplicate values, duplicate informations, it's not going to count it more than once. That's what the distinct count does, all right? So it's best for us to use the distinct count when we want to count the number of employees in an organization. So we don't count anybody twice, all right? We don't want to count anybody twice. We want to make sure that our information is as accurate as possible, okay? So I'm going to be using a particular, column for this. I'm going to be using what? The employee ID, all right? The employee ID. So what Power BI is going to do here is to go into this employee ID column and count each column within that, within this particular data set, all right? So it goes there, counts everything one after the other. And what I want it to do as well is to make sure it doesn't count any person twice, all right? It doesn't count anybody twice, okay? So I'll go ahead and click on what? Enter, and everything should iterate over here, all right? So once I click on enter, I would see that new measure change right here. That means I've finished calculating that particular measure, okay? So I'm going to move on because I want to calculate other measures. And because of time, I also want to move as quickly as possible, but not too quickly that we get confused, all right? Not too quickly that we get confused, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on new measures again. I'll click on what? New measures. Now I'm clicking on new measures because I want to calculate another formula, all right? And this formula this time around is going to be a step higher than what we just did, all right? We want to look at the number of active employees in this organization. We want to look at what? The number of active employees in this organization, all right? So I'm going to click on new measures, and we should get the active number coming up right about now, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and type in active employees, active employees. Now, what do we want to tell Power BI that we want to get out of this? We want to tell Power BI to go to a particular column and count a specific information. Now we are going to be a little bit more specific. We're not just telling it to go and count a column and tell us how many information is there or the distinct values that are in a particular column. We want to tell it that out of the sum of a particular information, go into that column or that particular data table, all right, and count informations that meet this particular criteria, all right? Let's say we want to find out the number of females in an organization, all right? This formula is going to be like, okay, go into the HR data set, okay, locate the gender column and go there and just count all the information that says female, all right? That is what we are just doing here, all right? But this time around, we want to find out the number of active employees, and it's how we are going to get the number of active employees. Let's go. I'll use my calculate function this time around, okay? I already have the total number of employees, so I don't have to calculate employee number again. So I'll just bring in the total number of employee just by applying a square bracket. Let me apply that square bracket again. The square bracket is on your keyboard, so it's not coming from heaven, all right? So click on the square bracket there, and the measures that I just took right now appears as an option, all right? So I'll click on that. Okay, so once I click on that, I have the total number of employees. Now I just have calculate the total number of employees, okay, where, okay, you can see the expression I have here. It says calculate expression and filter, all right? So what do I actually want to get? The active employees. Now, how do I get the number of active employees? I have to use a column that has information detecting clearly that these employees are still with us. And which other column best describes that? Is the terminated column. Now, the terminated column consists of null values and actual values like dates, right? The null values tell us exactly where we have, excuse me, the null values tell us exactly where we have active employees, and the date values tell us where we have terminated employees, all right? So here's the trick I'm going to apply. I'm going to tell this formula that go into that terminated column and count all the values that are null, all right? count all the values that are known. And how do I do that? I'm just going to put a simple information here. So going to calculate the total number of employee. Okay, so the best way to do that is calculate the total number of employees from the HR data set. All right. Okay, HR data set termination date column. All right, that is equal to blank. All right, equal to what? Blank. All right, that is equal to blank. So now I can just close brackets. Okay, and it's going to go there, count all the cells that are blank. Now I have what? As straightforward as that. I have my active employees. So let's click enter. All right, click enter, and that is coming up. The next thing I want to calculate now is what? The number of employees that have left the organization. Now, this one is going to be much easier because we are just doing what? We are subtracting total number of employees from active employees. Whatever is left are the number of employees that are not in the organization, all right? Whatever is left are the number of employees that are not in the organization. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Like I did earlier, I'll just click on new measures, all right? And then I'll just do a simple subtraction, okay? Subtracting total employees from active employees. Whatever is left are the numbers of employees that are not in the organization. Simple logic, simple maths, right? And we get to where we need to get to. So I give this terminated employees. Okay, terminated employees. So this time I'll use my square bracket again. I've calculated total employees and I'll just subtract that using the minus sign on my keyboard and bring in the active employees, and I have the information I need. All right, so that's the formula. Total employees minus active employees will give me the number of employees that have left. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click enter. Go ahead and click enter. All right, and I have that figure. All right, okay, I have that figure. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to be calculating here is going to be our attrition rate. Our attrition rate is going to be straightforward. We are going to just use a straightforward divide, right? I'll click on new measures again and see what I want to look at. Our attrition rate. Our attrition rate is basically dividing our termination information from the total number of employees. All right, how many employees have left against the actual number of employees that we have in our database, right? So I'll go ahead and call this attrition rate. Okay, attrition rates, and I go ahead and divide terminated employees. Okay, so this slash sign just goes for division, right? Straightforward and easy. Don't worry, we are going to get more time to go through the videos and grab it even more. Very straightforward and easy steps. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click on enter, and this division goes ahead to divide itself. All right, so once I'm done with that, all I have to is change this particular thing. All right, you can see my data formats are here, everything that has to do with this information. I want to see this as percentage. All right, so instead of me going ahead to visualize it and looking at it the way it is right now, okay, let's see what it looks like and let's transform it very quickly. I want us to also experience it as well. Let me bring this down here. Okay, so I'll just click on the attrition rate I have right now and you see how it looks like, but that's not what we need. Okay, that's not what we need. So once it visualizes, we'll move on from there. Okay, so we have 0.43. We want to see it in percentage. All right, we want to see it in percentage. So I'll click on that attrition again, and then what do? I will change it from this format it's in to percentage. So I'll just click on this drop down, or in fact, very straightforward. We have the percentage sign here. All I have to do is tap on that percentage sign and we are good. Let me click on that. Okay, you can see it's loading already. I will see this transform as well very quickly. Okay, see this transform. So now we have it in percentage. You can see the rates and all that. All right, so we are ready. We are ready to start bringing in our charts. We are ready to do what? Start bringing in our charts. I'm not sure I can see enough. I don't think we are still here. If you are still here, give me a yes. If you are still here, give me a yes, because we are about to start laying out charts and graphs and everything. Awesome, 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 fantastic. All right, amazing, 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 amazing. Okay, so guys, get ready, pay close attention, because once we start bringing in the charts, the questions will start coming in. So I want you guys to pay close attention to what we are doing, all right? Fantastic, fantastic. All right, so let's get on with it. So I already have a visual right here. Okay, I brought it in from here. Okay, you can see this visualization panel. That's where everything happens, or that's where we get all the magic of our dashboard. This visualization panel here contains several kinds of charts that we can use to interpret our data set very easily. Okay, so what do I do here? All I'm going to do here is just take this, minimize it just a little bit. I can easily minimize, move everything around. You can see they're very easy to use, right? You don't have to go through the process of designing complex information before you get, actual data from it, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and format this visual. Formatting a visual is basically making it look a little bit better for your stakeholders, all right? So I'll go ahead and format this visual. What I'm going to do is reduce the size of it and also make the border areas look good, all right? So I'll go ahead into my visualization formatting area, just the middle button here. You can see my cursor hovering on it. I'll click on this, and then what do? I'll go over to where I have general. All right, I'll go over to where I have general. I'll click on that drop down where I have effects. And what do I want to do under effect? I want to turn on my border. All right, so we have visual border here. I'm going to just turn it on. It should be as visible as possible right now. Okay, the next thing I want to do is like I mentioned, I want to work on the size of this visual. All right, so I'm going to change the font size here from 45. I would reduce it to 35, all right? From 45, I'll reduce it to 35. Now we have our category label. Our category label is this tiny text right here. I'm not sure all of us can see it clearly, but let me go ahead and make it a little bit clearer for us to see. Okay, so I'll go into the category label drop down, and then I'll go ahead and change that. Click on black to make it a little bit clearer, and increase the font size to also make it bolder. All right, so I think now this visual is not just transparent. You can see we have at least a line surrounding it. All right, so like I said, in our case study, the company has asked us to look into its performance in terms of its attrition rate, all right, number of active employees, and the number of employees that have left the organization. So we are going to start with the attrition rate. Okay, we have it visualized already. We have 42.5% attrition rate. This is very, very outrageous and too much for an organization to have, all right? So the actual attrition rate that an organization is supposed to have should be below 8%, all right? Should be below 8%, okay? Should be below 8%, all right? So he said, can you take the attrition rate percentage again? All right, so very simple, Olabioye, all right? Very, very simple. All you have to do is click on the body of text of this attrition right here. Click on the body of text, it opens up. Once it opens up, the formula, you have access to where you can easily change your percentage sign. All right, so click on the percentage sign and you are good to go. All right, now we have Chinaza. Chinaza says, how do I get the video? My network is acting up. All right, so we are sending forms in the chat right now. Okay, it's called attendance form. Go ahead and fill that form and you are good to go. All right, so you'll be able to get that video. All right, so kindly fill out the form and you are good to go. All right, so let's go on. Okay, so as simple as possible. The reason why I even did all those, changes, increasing size here and there, is so that I don't have to go through that process again. All right, so now what I'm going to do this visual is to replicate it. I'll just copy and paste, right? And I'll just change some information and the chart types and so on, all right? So let me copy and paste here. I'll just use my Control C, Control V, right? Control C, Control V, and it gets on, all right? Control C, Control V, and you duplicate your chart instantly. Now, here's the simple trick. I want to bring in the number of terminated employees right here. All I have to do is what? I want to check this information here under key measures. We have attrition rates. I want to check attrition rates, okay, and check terminated, okay, terminated number of employees. So terminated employees, we have 17 terminated employees in the organization. Now we want to look at the active employees. Let's quickly bring that in, all right? So these are key indicators of what is going on in the organization about its staffs, all right? So you can just get all of that right here. So I'm just going to uncheck these terminated employees and bring in active employees. I'll just be checking all these boxes. You can see all the boxes here. All you have to do is check them and you're good. All right. So now we have some information that we've answered so far, right? We have our active employees, we have our terminated employees, and we have the rate at which they've left the organization. So these are the employees we still have left, and these are the employees that have left the organization. Now let's move on from here, all right? Let's move on from here. Let's actually start bringing out charts that give us greater or better insights, all right? Charts that give us better insights, okay? So I'll go ahead and duplicate this, okay? So I can see, please can I? All right, so Iberi says, can we do the last tax again? All right, Bele, what we did was just to copy this visual, all right? We just did what? Copied it. And to copy this visual, you just have to do what? Use Control C and Control V, all right? Control C, Control V to copy it, all right? So once you copy that, all you have to do again is what? Go into your information right here. That's your data panel. Select the actual information that you want to see on your visual and you are good to go, all right? Select the actual information. Let me just undo that. Let me just do this. Uncheck terminated, check attrition rates. That's all you have to do. Uncheck attrition rates, check termination number, terminated employees, all right? As simple as that, all right? Again, I'm going to go ahead and copy this visual again, all right? So let me go on here. I'll just use Control C, Control V, and bring this over here. Okay, so now we are going to be getting into some actual information, like the distribution of attrition across departments, all right? So let's deal with our HR problems first, and we can go on and deal with other problems, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and, okay, while this visual is selected, remember this is just a card visual, we're going to look at the clustered column chart. So I'll just go in here, all right? You can just hover on these charts to see their names, or you use any one of your choice, all right? So today I'm going to be using the clustered column chart. I'll click on the clustered column chart, all right? And once I click on it, I can see a chart. Now, I want to do something different. I want to see what the departments with the highest attrition rate. I want to know where we are most affected by this high attrition rates. Okay, I want to know where we are most affected by this high attrition rates. It's not enough to say, oh, we have employees leaving the organization, we have attrition issue. We also need to know what, where we have high attrition rates. All right, we also need to do what, know where we have high attrition rate. So let's get into that. What I'm going to do now is to bring in the information about departments, all right? The information about department. I'm going to go ahead and click on departments, okay? Once I click on department, I should have information about the department showing up here. So I can see HR, IT, finance, sales, marketing, and so on. Now, like I said, I want to see it by attrition rates, not active employees, or attrition rate. All right, so I have my department in my y-axis. If you look over here where I have my cursor, I have my department in my y-axis. In my x-axis, I should have my attrition rate. So I'll cancel this to remove it. You can see the X sign for cancel. I'll cancel it to remove it. And do what? Bring in my attrition rate. My attrition rate is under key measures. So let me just click on attrition rate. Click on that, comes in, and I'm good to go. All right, I'm good to go. So let me just expand that a little and we can continue. Now let's quickly format this particular visual. I'll go in here and just, put the figures in a very much easy to read area. All right, first let me just expand this information, change it to black, so that we can see what's going on the screen as well. All right, over here, turn off axis. Same thing for my y-axis. I'll just do that very quickly. All right, and what do I need to do now? Turn on my data label so that I can see each bars with their own results. Let me format that data label very quickly so it makes more sense. All right, so I don't want to go through the process of formatting data labels over and over again, so that's why I'm doing that immediately. All right, okay, so we have it on a good number. All right, so if we look right here, we'll see that our chart is full and easy for us to read. Now, I want to throw a question to the house so that we can answer this question very quickly. Let me expand this to focus mode. All right, I believe we can see this very clearly. All right, I believe we can see this very clearly. Now, which department has the highest attrition rate? Which is very obvious, but I want to see who can detect that very easily. All right, Taiwo says marketing, Benny says marketing, Ade, marketing, very, very obvious. Which department has the highest attrition rate? Marketing. So immediately you see this chart very broken down with all the rates and everything. You immediately know where the high risk department is instantly without even, going too far, asking questions, calculating, maybe going into the sheets using Biro and calculating each of the, employees that have left by department one after the other. Like this, we know the high risk department where we need to focus our most attention on, all right, instantly. Okay, just by creating a simple visual, we can easily tell that. All right, marketing is the department with the highest risk of attrition. So we don't just know that we have high attrition, we know where that particular attrition is worse. All right, where we need to start taking immediate action. All right, not that other departments do not require immediate action, but 62% is almost the entire department. So this is something that we need to take care of instantly, right? 62% is almost the entire department. All right, so that's that. Let's look at other information. All right, it's not enough for us to look at, oh, marketing is the highest. Let's look at other things that help us to describe why employees are leaving. All right, we know the department that is having the highest issue right now. So is it because of salary? All right, is it because of salary that these individuals are leaving? All right, is it because of salary that these individuals are leaving? All right, okay, so Felix says they use because of marketing as excuse to go for other interviews. Wow, that's that's a nice one. All right, so they use because of marketing to go to, for other interviews in other companies. So it means that this company has retention issues, right? So why can't they retain their staffs, right? Why can't they retain their staffs? Let's look at another factor like salary, all right? Like salary. So I'll go ahead and just copy this visual. Like I said, I don't want to do too much on formatting. Let's just go ahead and work on these settings that we have. All right, so let's look at a different kind of chart. But before I look at that, let me just go ahead and take out the information that I already have here. I'll go back to my build visual where we have our visualization panel. This time, I'll be looking at something different, which is salary. So I'll check department, and you have salary class, all right? Remember when we talked about high, low, high salaries and all that, medium salaries, okay? So I'll click on salary class and we should have all the information we need. But this time around, I'm not going to be using a clustered column chart. I will be using something different, which is our donut chart. So I'll click on that. Immediately I click on it, it just changes everything for me instantly. Now I have to do a little bit of formatting. So let me get to it, all right? Let me know this time. Click on my formatting bar. First, I would like to turn off my legend, but it seems that we have a very large visual. So let me quickly go in here and reduce the size of visual. Okay, we have 35. Let's see what 14 would look like. Amazing. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to ensure that when I look at this chart, I know exactly what I'm looking at. Okay, so I want to see data category name as well as data value. All right. Okay, category name as well as data value. So if you see here, just by looking at this, you note that those that are low salary earners are doing what? Are getting what? Are leaving the organization the most, right? They are not satisfied with their salary, all right? So we know that this department is having the worst situation in terms of attrition. Now we can also tie it to a particular reason, all right? We need to start reviewing these employees' compensation packages. If we want to maintain them in the organization, we need to start doing what? We need to start reviewing their compensation packages, all right? All right. So Latif says, am I pronouncing that correctly? Latif says KPI or salary with respect to targets. All right. So I think this has to do with the marketing department as well. All right. This has to do with the marketing department as well. All right. So let's quickly move on to the next thing. All right. We've been able to bring out some information about what is going on with the HR area. All right. Now let's get into the finance area. Let's get into what? The finance area. All right. Before we do that, I want to quickly finish up with my formats right here. So I just want to see my title a bit much better. All right. See my title better. Let me see. Okay, we're good. All right. So here as well, also do the same thing, increase my title size, and I'm good to go. All right. So we've been able to get a quick and good insight from our HR area where we have attrition issues and what could be a key factor contributing to that particular aspect, right? We have attrition issues in all departments, but there are some that are just flagged as red, right? It's too much. It's too much to have 62% in one department, right? Now, we're also noting the fact that these individuals in this company are experiencing a high rate of, low salary. They have a high rate of low salary earners, right? So we definitely need to start doing something about it. So those that are low salary earners are much more likely to leave the organization than those that are in the marketing department. So let's move on a little from there. Let's look at the finance area in terms of budgeting. How is this organization doing? All right. So I'm going to just duplicate this, Control C, Control V, and bring this down here. So let's move this little. Okay. Let me just quickly move this around because I don't want to take too much time. All right. Okay, so we are going to look at what? We are going to look at our performance in terms of budgeting. All right, we're going to look at our performance in terms of budgeting. So what do we have here? What do we have here? We're going to be looking at how much we spend or the percentage difference in our spending. All right, the percentage difference in our spending on average. And we'll be looking at this by our weekday. All right, so we've finished looking at our HR data. Let's focus on our finance data. All right, so our finance data right now, we're going to look at our variance information. All right, we have our variance percentage here. Okay, so I'll just select that first. Okay, so this variance here, we are going to be looking at it by average. But before I do that, okay, let me just go ahead and change that to average very quickly. Very simple, very straightforward. I'll just click on this drop down arrow. I believe you can see my cursor dancing around over here. All you have to do is just click on this drop down arrow and it gives you a list of options for quick aggregation, all right? Quick sum, quick average, maximum count, and all that, right? So we want to look at it by average, so I'll just select the average option here, and it should give me the average percentage for this area, all right? Average percentage. Okay, so from what I can see here, I already noted that this particular column, it's not, you know, should I say, okay, let me move it to, okay, it's not giving me the figures that I want right here. It's showing me decimal places and not percentages, which is fine. We can still fix that, all right? But I'm going to move this out of the y-axis, or yeah, it's fine in the y-axis. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my weekday, all right? So basically, I want to note here which day of the week, right? How are we doing perfectly fine in terms of budgeting, right? Which day of the week are we doing perfectly fine? If you look at the information we have here, you can see that, okay, we don't have this arranged properly. We don't have this arranged properly, but that's fine. We can easily fix that, okay? So what I'm going to do now is to go to a different interface in our Power BI, all right? A different place, rather, in our Power BI, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and do what? Click on my table view. And my table view, I'll have the option to sort this weekday properly. I don't want to have Thursday before Saturday. I don't want to have Monday after Friday. I want everything to be sorted out properly. Okay, I want everything to be sorted out properly. Yes, Adebayo, you can get the recording, all right? Like I mentioned earlier, please make sure to, fill out that particular form right there so you can get all the recordings, all right? So I'm going to that table view right now. And what I'm going to do is go to my finance data, okay? The first thing I want to do in this finance data is obviously to change this particular column to percentage, okay? So this is directly from the data set, not just a DAX formula, all right, or a formula language. This is directly from the finance data set. Okay, so if I click on it right here, I can see that my data type is in general. I want to change it to percentage. Like I did earlier, I'll just click on the percentage sign and it goes back to normal, all right? Now, another thing I want to also correct here is what? Is our weekday. Our weekday is showing a little bit, we're having Friday before Monday and all that. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that is how it should be in our presentation as well. So what do we do here? All I have to do is just go into my weekday column. I'll select my weekday column. Now, I'm going to sort my weekday column by this week number to ensure that when it sees 1, it knows that 1 is Monday. So 1 has to come first, 2 comes second, 3 comes third, and so on and so forth. So I'm sorting this weekday column by the week number. All right, so I'll go ahead. I'll click on this sort by column right here. Okay, so select the column, go to this area. Once you select the column, these options will be available, trust me. All right, so I'll click on sort by and then go to what? Week number. All right, week number. All right, so once I get to week number, what does it do? It sorts that particular column for me completely. All right, okay, sorts that particular column for me completely. Don't worry, we're not going to see anything here, but once we get into Power BI report view, we are going to get all the full context of what we are doing. So I'll come back here, right here, okay, right here. I can see that I can see that it's still Thursday, Saturday, and so on. But here's the simple trick. I'll just take this out, uncheck it, all right, and put it back again. What do I have? a proper arrangement. All right, a proper arrangement. And what else do you notice here? We also have our percentages showing now. Now you can see some percentages that are below 0. They are pointing downwards, and some that are above 0. So we have them up here as well. All right. So don't worry, we're still going to come back and do some, conditional formatting on these things so that we can see them in actual, first sight. You immediately know that, oh, this is loss. This is where we're actually doing fine in terms of budgeting, and these areas down here are where we are not performing very well. So you immediately start to track, what are we doing on Thursdays? What are we doing differently on Mondays? What are we doing exactly that we are not keeping up with the budgets, right? So from the data set right here, we can easily know, okay, these are the places or these are the weekdays that we are not doing well. How do we change that? How do we make the necessary steps to ensure that we keep ourselves on track? All right. So don't worry, I'm going to come back to this. But very quickly, let's look at our budgets and actual information. So I'll copy this and take it over here. All right. Let me just minimize this a little. Okay. Copy this, take it over here. Now I will look at what? I will look at my budget and actual. This time around, I'm still going to be using my weekday because I want to know where we are having issues. Based on what we have here, let's look at it as here as well from the actual values. So I'll take out this information of variance from my y-axis, and I'll bring in my budget information, okay? So my bars should show now. And then what else? My actual information. All right, my budget information, my actual information. So from this information right here, I can easily note that I don't really have serious issues in terms of the difference in budget and actual. But right here, it's showing me that these areas are of concern because we're always not meeting up with our budget. We are always exceeding budget. On Mondays, we are exceeding budget. Tuesday, we are exceeding budget. Friday and Sunday. Sunday is even the worst, all right? Look at where Sunday is, minus 2.04, right? While we are having 0.98, maybe 15 naira, 100 naira. Sunday is minus 2.04. So how come we are not being able to maintain the budget planning within the organization, right? So we have this information here telling us that, okay, the differences are not much, okay? Even on Sundays, our budget is 2K and the actual spending is like 1,000 extra, which is 3K, all right? I think that's where the problem is coming from. Although we don't have so much spending on Sundays, still yet, we are still not able to keep up with our budget, right? So like I mentioned earlier, I want us to be able to see at first sight what the issue is with this particular chart. So we are going to do a little bit of something, all right? I'm going to give it a color code. I'm going to use a DAX measure to create a color code for this, all right? And I'm going to show us how to apply it effectively, all right? I'll show us how to apply it effectively. We're going to see a little bit of magic. I won't call it magic, but it sometimes looks like it, all right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'll click on key measures, all right? So once I click on key measures, I'll go to where I have new measures, all right? I'll go to where I have new measures. And once my new measure pops up, I'll use this very simple and straightforward formula, all right? Which is if, all right? If statement, if statement. If statement is basically a particular kind of formula we use when we want to apply different or multiple conditions to a single area, all right? Different or multiple conditions to a single area. So I'll just say, call this color code, all right? All right, so I must have clicked enter already without, all right, color code. Okay, so our color code is simply going to be if the average, okay, if the average variance, okay, average variance is less than, okay, so if the average variance is greater than 0, then we want our output to be navy blue. Let's just use that, navy blue. okay? And if it's less than 0, we want it to be what? We want it to be red. Very, very red. All right? Want it to be red. I'll close my brackets. All right? This very simple formula. You are going to see how it works. All right? Very straightforward. Click enter, and then I'll go into my chart again and apply this particular color code using some conditional formatting. All right? So I'll go ahead and click on this chart. Then I'll go into my Power BI visualization settings right here. Click on that. Now I want to locate my column settings. Okay, we have it right here. All right, we have it right here. So all I'm going to do is extend this column, extend it, and locate exactly where I have the color code for this column. Thankfully, it's right here. So what am I going to do? Like I said, conditional formatting. Very straightforward conditional formatting. I'll go ahead and click on this FX. All right, let me do that again. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click on this FX right here. So once I click on the FX, I have to go to where I have my gradients. Instead of me applying this to gradient, I want to apply to a particular field value, all right? So I'll click on field value and I'll select the actual field value I want, which is my color code, all right? The color code, click OK. So immediately I click OK, just wait for it. You can see that, can't you? All right, you can see that. So we have what? We have our red, we have our blue, all right? So immediately you have this, you instantly know, anytime you look at this chart, you know that, oh, we are experiencing losses here, all right? We are not on budget. We are not keeping to track as to what we planned. We're exceeding budgets in these areas, okay? So what are we doing on Friday that is making us to exceed budget? What are we doing on Monday, right? We start to do extra research to find out what is going on to make sure that we maintain value for this organization. All right. So we've been able to take on the information about the HR. We've been able to take on the information about the finance of the organization. All right. But what is a dashboard without a title? All right. So let's make sure that ABC Corp knows that we have them in mind. All right. So I'll bring in a text box here and put in a name. All right. I'll put in a name here. I'll just go ahead and name this perfectly. All right. So I have ABC Corp. Reports. All right, so I would like to name that HR and FA reports. Let me just add that, HR and FA reports. All right, so I believe we can't see anything on my screen right now. So let me make it a little bit bold. Let's see what 32 does. All right, we're almost there. Okay, so we have our full report right now. We have all the information that we need. Last thing I want to do is to make sure that everything is on the same code level, color code level, all right? Is on the same color code level. Now, after we finish bringing out insights or developing our chart, we also want to make sure that our data is very much presentable to our stakeholders, all right? So I'll just choose any team right here. All right, any team right here. You can see the tab that I just got it out from. I think that's our view tab. Okay. Sorry, I can't look at what it is. All right, so there's something here over here that I'm not sure I can see what I'm looking at right now. All right, so I'll just go ahead and click on this and we'll be fine, right? Awesome. So you can see everything is now on the same color code, color frequency. And we can easily say, oh, yeah, we want to present this to our stakeholders and tell them exactly what we've noted, where they need to start looking into, to ensure that these issues are not repeated, right? Now, for the HR area, can anyone tell me what we found out in the HR area very quickly? What were we able to pick out from the HR area? All right. So we looked at the area of attrition in the HR, right? And we can see here that we have very dangerously high attrition rates for marketing and equally dangerously high attrition rates for those that are low salary earners. It shows that this organization's retention strategy in terms of compensation is very poor, all right? Just by looking at these two charts, we already know that their retention strategy in terms of compensation is very poor. And this marketing department, I believe they are the ones that are most affected by this low salary situation. Now it comes to our variance, all right? Although we are making our budgets every week, all right, every day of the week, telling ourselves that, okay, we are going to stick to the budget and, achieve this particular information, achieve this particular spending rate. But it shows here that we are not doing that at all in this organization. We have more days where we are exceeding budget than when we are keeping a good range within the budget, right? We are exceeding budget tremendously in the business. So 4 days out of 7, we are actually doing the opposite of what we planned that we are going to do. So we definitely need to start looking at what is happening on these days in our businesses and how we can start putting ourselves in the right position to make better financial decisions. All right. Are we together? Are we there? I can't see anybody's hands right now. Okay, so go ahead and give me a yes if you are still here. Go ahead and give me a yes if you are still here. Awesome. I can see Latif. Okay, Mokwe. All right, Abraham. Awesome, 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 awesome. All right. So if you enjoyed the process so far, let me also see that thumbs up. All right. If you can give me a thumbs up, give me that thumbs up right now. Okay. Because we've come to the end of our practical session and we're going to move on to the next session where we'll actually see exactly how we can become full HR analysts and financial analysts. All right. So I'm going to hand over the mic back to Damilola. Hi, Damilola.
Hi, Mary. Thank you so much for that amazing session. All right. It was quite educative. If you enjoyed that session, can you please give our facilitator a round of applause? I know it must be a bit confusing because you are just starting. But then again, there's so much for you to learn when you join Tenalytics. All right. So this is just the teeny bitty, gritty, nitty gritty of it. All right, so I'm going to quickly share my screen and take you through what you need to do to become an HR analyst or a financial analyst. All right, so right. Again, I know Mary has asked earlier what each and every one of us would be interested in, but just to still get the feel of the audience, the room today, I want you to tell me if after what we've gone through you think you're interested in HR analytics or financial analytics. So in the chat, tell me what you are interested in or you like to know. Which one do you want me to take first, HR analytics or financial analytics? In the chat very quickly. The one with the highest number will be the one that I'm going to quickly explain first. So HR analytics, financial, HR. Let's keep it going. One more HR, I'm going to take HR first. HR analytics, HR, fantastic. Okay, so please note that HR analytics basically means it's a combination of data and HR, okay? Data and human resource. Then financial analytics is a combination of data and finance, data plus finance, okay? So why exactly did we choose these two career paths? Why exactly? are we going with these two career paths? Number one is the ease of learning. You can see that just from this 1 hour that we've spent so far going through a dashboard, somebody already dropped, Benny already dropped his dashboard in the chat. So it's the ease of learning. It's also the ease of transitioning, of getting a job. At the end of the session, we're going to show you people that have gone through the HR analytics program and are currently working as HR analysts or financial analysts. Then lastly, we have high and rewarding salaries. We're going to also show you the average salary of an HR analyst or a financial analyst in different parts of the world. All right, so these are the three things that we've looked at to say, okay, HR analytics and financial analytics are key areas, key tech parts that people need to get into as soon as possible. All right, so who is a HR analyst? Who do we refer to as HR analysts? What you're basically doing is analyzing people data. That's it. You're analyzing people data. And when we say people data, like company data, such as IRE trends, you're looking at IRE trends of a company. Say, for example, you work at Amazon, right? I like to use Amazon as an example. You work at Amazon and you're working as an HR analyst, you're going to be looking at the hiring trends of the company. All right. So what is the average age of people that the company hires? What is their certification or the certificate? What's their level of education? You look at their location as well. These are like hiring trends that you look at. You also are going to be analyzing employee performance. All right. So you know how we do appraisals in different companies at the end of the month. You're going to be looking at the performance of each employee to advise on different HR policies and strategies that the company needs to implement to ensure that its people are also doing well, because people are, they are an important part of every company. So if you see a company that is doing well, that is doing really well, it simply means that they are taking care of their employees, taking care of their people. And if you see a company that has crashed, it means that they did not take their employees serious. And that is one thing that companies today are trying to avoid, because the people of the company really strengthens, it gives an edge to how successful the company will be. It's not a matter of hiring somebody in 1 year and then the following year they are gone. That's not a good company, right? So this is why companies are looking for HR analysts to make sense of their HR data, analyze their people data, understand their hiring trends, understand their employee performance, understand employee attrition. There are companies that are currently going through employee attrition, and right, companies need to understand why people are leaving and what to do to control this level of attrition. All right, so companies are hiring HR analysts basically to advise on HR policies and strategies. So all you do is simply analyze people data. You analyze people data. All right, so you saw the case study that we walked through today, right? You saw that we moved from this right here, having data in Excel, in the Excel sheet, which is just by looking at it, it looks meaningless because I can't really see anything from it, to what we have right here. All right, so it's a transition from here to what we have right here. And you can see that just by looking at this dashboard, a talent sourcing dashboard, we can see that we have 1,001 employees, right? Something that we cannot really generate. We can't see just by looking at this sheet that is here. Then we can see that on an average tenure, we have employees using as long as 2 years, 6 months. You can look at it, you can see the average performance score. And just by looking at this talent sourcing analysis, you can see that the company has problem. Because why are employees using 2 years, right? Companies are supposed to be employing talents, are going to be staying for long, so that the company, they can grow with the company and use their talent for the company. So average satisfaction score of this particular company is 7 out of 10, which is not very bad. But at the end of the day, the company needs to implement things that will make it grow, because 7.5 is not really what a company should be looking at at the average satisfaction score of their employee. So literally, HR, you're analyzing data, people data, and gathering insight. All right. So another thing is that HR analysts help to drive business decisions. They help to drive employment decisions, right? The rise of HR analytics has seen so much interest. Coming from years back, you would not really see a role such as HR analytics. But here, in this current 2024, if you go to different job boards, you see different companies hiring for HR analysts, employment analysts, employment specialists, talent sourcer or sourcer analyst. It goes on and on and on, really. All right. So the interest in hiring HR analysts has grown over the years into something of very huge interest, and different aspect of the company that an HR analyst can help you, solve is what part of training budgets drives business results, which words appear on resumes of companies' most successful employees, what factors predict turnover within a company, how should HR managers track the skills available within the organization to choose the right people for the assignments, right? What is the single best source of hire for technical recruits who outperform their colleagues? That is different questions that you're going to be answering for your company as an HR analyst. Okay, so looking at the global HR analyst job opening, we've seen that it has increased from whatever it was before to over 2 million plus. All right, over 2 million plus as at 2024. This is something that we've done our research on, right? So we're not just coming here to give you figures that are, manufactured figures. Available HR analysts to apply to jobs are 400,000. So that simply means that there's a high demand for HR analysts, but there's a low supply of HR analysts. And this is one of the reasons why we have also, put together this HR analytics program to build more HR analysts, to equip more people with HR analytics tools and skills to move into this career path and take over these roles that are lying around and available. All right. So it basically just means that from 2 million plus roles that are available to HR to actual 400,000 HR analysts that are available, there's a shortage of 1.6 million HR analysts. So HR analyst jobs that are left to be unfilled are 1.6 million. All right. So organizations are seeing that there's a need for HR analysts, and they are using all that they can to hire the best talents in town, the best talents around. Okay, so organizations are increasingly using HR analytics solutions to make data-driven decisions, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. That was when we really saw the high rise in requests for HR analysts, in search for HR analysts. This has necessitated remote working and workforce management. And the average salary of an HR analyst in Canada is 71,210 US, Canadian dollars, right, per annum. In the USA, it is 73,000 USA dollars, and in the UK, it is 40,000 pounds per annum. And this is even for on an average, you're just starting out, really, if you can bargain properly. All right. So what do you need to become an HR analyst? What do you need to learn to become an HR analyst? Your key learning areas will be problem solving. You already know that you're going to be solving problems within the company, HR problems. Employees are leaving, you're going to be solving it. Satisfaction is dropping, you're going to be looking for how to solve it, right? Employees are not satisfied, you're going to be looking for how to solve this. But before you even know how to point out all these problems, you need to know the different techniques that you can use to approach problems. Is it the CRISP DM? Is it the different problem solving techniques that people use to approach problems? You're going to learn all of this. Then you're going to learn Excel as well, how to use Excel to generate insights and create reports. And this is because Excel is one main tool that companies of different sizes, of different, backgrounds use. Excel is a tool that you cannot even take to the background as an HR analyst. One core part of your tool as an HR analyst. So you're going to be learning different formulas and functions within Excel, how to use pivot tables, pivot charts, how to use ChatGPT to do your analysis, which is also like at the bottom of it. You know, you learn Power BI as well. This is little tiny bit of what you're going to be learning in Power BI, because what we just did today is like 0.1% of it, right? When you get into the program, you're going to be learning everything that you need to know, how to use Power BI fabrics, how to publish your reports in Power BI. These reports that you just created, it is something that you can publish, and then everybody in your company is able to view it based on the access that you've given to them. You're going to learn how to grant access to your analysis, your reports in Power BI. You're going to learn different DAX functions in Power BI, data analysis, expression functions, functions and formulas within Power BI. You'd also learn structured query language, which is SQL. And what is SQL? It is the language of database. What is a database? It is your store. You know how we all have stores or warehouses or what have you that you can have in your house or what have you, and then you keep stuff in it for when you need it. This is what we refer to as database. So as a company, every company, or big companies, they have their database, and the language of the database is SQL. It's like going to let me say Korea, and you want to speak to the people there, you don't know how to speak Korea language, you're gonna have problems, right? And so this is literally like the same as SQL. You want to interact with the company's database, but you don't know how to speak the SQL language, you're going to have problems. That means that you need to get an interpreter to get the data for you. But to solve that part of the whole problem for you, we're going to be teaching you how to use SQL. So you don't necessarily have to need a data engineer or anybody to get your data for you. You can simply just go into the company's warehouse and get the data yourself by yourself. So that's why we're going to be learning SQL. Then we'll now move to the core part of HR analytics, where we're going to be learning HR analytics and performance evaluation, how to evaluate performance of different companies, of different pay grades, and so on and so forth. You learn all the HR metrics and life cycle. What are the different metrics that you need to know how to, extract as an HR analyst? You're going to learn these things. You're going to learn how to create HR dashboards. Like I said earlier, what you just learned today is like 0.1% of it, because by the time you start building actual HR dashboards, you yourself, you're going to be shocked at what you can build, right? And then you learn collaboration and report automation as an HR analyst. You learn how to build your case, and then you learn how to use ChatGPT, which is the AI that everybody is scared of. The AI that everybody is saying will take my job. You are going to learn how to use it to enhance your efficiency in your role. Okay, so these are the things I'm going to be learning. The learning timeline is 4 months. 4 months of learning. And then we get questions like, oh, is 4 months enough for me to get started? Yes, 4 months is enough for you to get started in the HR analytics role. 4 months is enough for you to land your desired job in the HR analytics role, right? So you're going to be learning for 3 months, and then it's going to be a project-based class. It's going to be project-based classes where you're learning using real life examples, so that even if you don't have HR analytics experience, or you never worked as an HR analyst at all, you get interviews and you get to the front of the recruiter, you're able to tell them that, okay, these are the things that I've worked on as an HR analyst. That's how we're approaching this thing using projects. So they're going to have real life experience even without having real life experience. I hope that makes a lot of sense, right? And then you get to intern for 1 month with us as at Tenalytics, right? So your classes are on Saturdays only. This is to cater for all people. So if you have a 9 to 5, you can't attend the weekdays and all those things, you're able to attend on weekends. You have a business, you can't leave it during the weekdays, you're able to attend on weekends. So classes are from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., right? 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. And then we have Sundays where we have what we call the Watch Me Do It videos. Okay, so remember I said earlier that you're going to be working on projects, but even before you get to this, before you get to this project, you need to understand the basics and the concepts. And this is what the Watch Me Do It videos will do for you. They will explain to you what the concepts and the basics are, so that by the time you get into the class for the project-based class, You already understand the concept, and what you want to come and do is gain experience from using that project. Okay, so your key tools are Excel, Power BI, SQL, and other HR tools. All right, so another thing that I would like to state is that we've been saying HR analyst, HR analyst, HR analyst, but just by joining this program, there are other career paths that you can follow. So you don't necessarily have to, look for jobs, HR analyst jobs only. No, you can work as a people analyst, you can work as an HR data analyst, you can work as a people operations analyst, you can work as a HR business analyst, you can work as talent acquisition analyst, total rewards analyst, benefits analyst, workforce analyst. There are a lot of roles that you can apply to just by taking or going through this program. All right, so never ever shortchange yourself by applying to just one straight role as HR. There are so many other roles that you can function in as the HR analyst. So if you absolutely understand everything that the HR analytics program is about, can you give me a thumbs up in the chat? I just want to know if you people are following me and you understand everything that I've just explained. So with a thumbs up, let me know if you clearly understand the HR analytics program. Right, I need more people to respond. Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much. So that is for HR and HR analyst. Now, who is a financial analyst? Who is a financial analyst? Remember I said earlier that financial analytics is data plus finance. Okay, data plus finance. Pardon my writing. All right, so as a financial analyst, you are a professional who analyzes financial data. You analyze financial data to guide investment decisions, all right, investment decisions, evaluate a company's performance, all right. You're going to be evaluating a company's performance, and then you're going to be forecasting financial trends. So I'm going to take that one by one. You know how we have different financial statements, all right? And if I'm saying things that are strange to you, do not be bothered, because these are things that we're going to break down in the program. You don't even have anything to worry about. If you don't understand financial statements, don't worry. We're going to break all of that down for you in the program. But as a financial analyst, we're going to be working with going to be analyzing financial data, financial data like what can I call it now? Income statements, equity statements, all of those financial statements, right? We're going to be analyzing these financial statements, guides data to guide investment decision. Now, say for example, you work for an investment company. What they do is purely invest in other companies, and this is you work for an investment company, okay, and what they do is purely invest in other companies. So as the financial analyst, say for example, your manager has called you that they want to invest in ABC company, and they need you as a financial analyst to advise on if they should go ahead or not. What you will do is you then go and collect data, historical data of this ABC company. You go and collect it. So data for as far back as 10 years. These are things that you can find online. You can find on the company's website. So you go and collect this financial data, and then you analyze this data. Okay, you collect data and then you analyze this data to know if, okay, our company should invest in this company or not. This is what you're going to be doing as a financial analyst. So you analyze financial data to guide financial investment decisions, to evaluate company's performance. Remember, I said that your company wants to invest in ABC company. So with that analysis that you're going to be doing, you're going to be evaluating the company's performance. Okay, in 2010, how was their, the total performance of the company? You know how companies publish their performance results at the end of each quarter, at the end of each year. Okay, so you analyze this. Okay, what was it like in the past 5 years? Has it been good or has it been rough? Should the company go ahead or not? So you evaluate company's performance, and then you forecast financial trends. Just by looking at what the company has done before, you then forecast what is going to be happening in the company in the next couple of years. Okay, let's say 2 years financial forecasting, you forecast for the next 5 years, you create assumptions just by what they've done previously. You create the assumptions, and then you say, okay, for the next 5 years, what is the company's health going to be like? So you're going to be forecasting financial trends. All right. So all that you do as a financial analyst is forecast financial data, analyze financial data. And again, please note that you don't need to have experience as an accountant. You don't need to have experience as a finance person to be able to do all of these things, because we will teach you how to do it. And it's not even hard, you will learn it. All right. So the key decisions that you help a company make is, it varies from how does the company manage its expenses? Are there notable trends in expenses? What is the company's profitability? Is it a company that we're going to profit from, or that is going to be a huge loss from? Now, let me use this example of Heritage Bank that just went off, right? Now, say for example, again, you work for an investment company, right? They invest in companies. Okay. What's this guy now? There's this popular guy that does I think Watts or something. I can't particularly remember his name right now. So you work for his company, all right? And then before Heritage Bank went under, they wanted to invest in Heritage Bank. All right. So you as the financial analyst will now go into Heritage Bank's financial data to see what the company has been, how it has been doing, the performance of the company for the past 5 years or the past 10 years, to forecast if the company will go down or not, right? So at some point in time, investment companies that would have looked at Heritage Bank's, financial performance, and would have seen if, oh, it will go down, it will crash or not, just by looking at their publications on their performance at the end of each year. So something like and what I'm trying to drive here is that as a financial analyst, the fact that this company could go under is something that you would have predicted. Okay, it's something that you would have predicted, and you'd have stopped your company from investing in it, right? So this is what you answer, like, what is the company's profitability? Is it a company that we're going to gain from, or that we're going to amass, losses from? Then you also answer questions like, what are the expected financial outcomes of a different investment options? What are the things that would happen if your company invests in this other company? Then how should the company allocate its capital? What are the different scenarios that could impact the company's financials? Those are the things that you look at as a financial analyst. Now, the key learning areas for you would also be problem solving, because you're going to be solving financial problems of the company. You're going to be solving financial problems of the company. You're going to be looking at how to, analyze the need of the company. Now, the company has seen a problem. How exactly do you tackle this problem? That things I'm going to be looking at. Then you look at Excel as well. You learn Excel, how to use Excel to analyze financial data, how to use Excel to create reports, how to use Excel to generate financial insights. You learn Power BI, how to use Power BI to generate insight as well. And the fun part of Power BI is that you can merge different data sources. If I'm saying data sources you don't understand, don't worry, we'll teach you. That's no problem. All right. So you can merge different data sources to, generate one powerful insight. Like let me not go into that for too far. So you learn Power BI as well. Then you also learn structured query language. I explained what SQL is about. It's a language of the database, right? Then start to learn accounting fundamentals. I said you don't have to worry if you don't have accounting background, because we'll teach you everything that you need to know, different financial statements, the different concepts and principles within finance, the different steps to follow in creating your financial models, right? We learn financial analysis as well, how to analyze financial data. We learn financial modeling, how to model the health or performance of a company for the next 5 years, for the next 3 years, for the next 2 years. Somebody wants to start a company, and they hire you, or they contract you as a financial analyst to create a financial model for them. based off of different assumptions to know if this is a company that they can benefit from, or this is a business idea that they can benefit from, or if this is a business idea that they need to trash. All right, you learn valuation and you also learn sensitivity and scenario analysis. So the learning journey is for 4 months. Okay, 3 months of project-based life classes as well, and 1 month of internship. Your classes are on weekends as well. Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You're done. All right. And then you get assignments, you get projects and group work, you get everything that you need to get to perform perfectly when you eventually land the role. So the global financial analyst job openings that we currently have are up to 3 million. Then the available financial analysts to actually apply for these jobs are 500,000, right? And then the financial analyst jobs that are left to be unfilled are 2.5 million plus. Okay. So there are like different driving factors to the demand of financial analysts. We have the fact that companies require expertise, the population that are actually doing these things are aging, so they need new generation of financial analysts. Now, the average salary of a financial analyst in the UK is £51,000, in Canada is 69,000 Canadian dollars, and in the US is 86,000 US dollars. All right. So as the financial analyst, you would not know where to invest until you understand the financial health of the organization. Understanding the financial health of the organization is very important. Now, what are the different job descriptions or job roles that you can apply to as a financial analyst? You can apply as an investment analyst or a financial planning and analysis analyst. You can do market analyst. You can apply as a commercial analyst, financial modeling analyst, sales analyst, data analyst in the finance sector, cost analyst, and so on and so forth. Now, into the other part of the program, right? All our programs come with free internship, okay, to make your CV and portfolio stand out. I said that it's not necessary for you to have experience, but because we are going to build that experience for you within this analytics, we'll build that experience for you. So even if you don't have experience working as an HR analyst or a financial analyst, we will build that experience for you. Okay, these are projects that some of our students have worked on. If I sort of like okay, so once you get the slides, please feel free to go through it to see the different projects that our students have worked on as an HR analyst. And if we have the time, we'll also go through it as well. So one thing that we always say is that it always seems impossible until you actually get it done. The dashboard that we saw today, it looked impossible at the beginning, but eventually we're able to finish it up. These are some people that have gone through our program and are currently working as HR. These are like some people that have gone through our program and then are currently working as HR analysts. We'll take time out to look at each of these people as well. Okay, so how then do you position yourself for success in 3-layered approach? We have the additional employability services that will equip you with succeeding in this program. All right, we have the CV review sessions where you get to speak to an expert on how to improve on your CV and get CV templates, talk to an expert, get your CV literally like done for you. All right, we'll hold your hands to build your CV for you and state your achievements. We also have the LinkedIn optimization where we take you through how to optimize your LinkedIn in a way that it attracts recruiters and provides opportunities for you. We have the Upwork optimization session where if you're not interested in working for someone, you want to work as a freelancer, we'll also take you through how to build your career as a freelancer. All right. We have navigating the job market sessions. These are sessions that help you to teach you how to literally like navigate the job market, where to go to apply for jobs, how to reach out to recruiters, cold emailing, and so on and so forth. Then we have the job interview preparation sessions. If you've gone through our program, by God's grace, you get an interview. What we'll do is prepare you for the possible questions that could come out. We'll sit with you, prepare you, talk to treat it like it's going to be like you're actually doing an interview, but it's an interview preparation session. Okay, then we also have the recommendation letter. When you get a job, you need somebody to give you a reference. We will provide that reference letter for you. That's level 1. Level 2, we have the weekly mentorship sessions. You know how they usually say that follow who know road, right? Follow the person that knows the road. We're going to be bringing a lot of people that actually know the road that you can follow. People that have gone through this tech career path and are succeeding immensely, all right? We'll bring them on board to mentor you, teach you what they did, how they were able to navigate and scale up their own career path. We also have the on-the-job support where if you've gotten the job, when you get the job, you need assistance in one area or the other, we will provide all the advice and assistance that we can give. Then the last level, which is level 3, is our one promise to you, which is a guaranteed job interview 1 month after completing your training with us. All right. So the next course is starting 6th of July. Note that it's starting 6th of July 2024, and that's like 2 weeks from now, give or take, right? And to join our next cohort, we you need to make payments, and this is what I have projected on my screen for the HR analytics program and financial analytics program. We are currently offering this program on a discount. Okay, so the full amount, if you look at this right here, if you're paying in dollars, the full amount is $750. But because we want people to be able to transition into this tech career path with little to no hassle at a very market-friendly rate, we are providing a discount of $600 for the first 20 people to register. For the first 20 people. So to get into the class, you need to make a payment of $400 if you're paying in dollars. And then 1 month into the program, you need to pay the balance, which is $200. If you're paying in pounds, the full amount is £625, but you get to pay £500. So that's £350 to get into the class, then £150 1 month into the program. If you're paying in euros, the original fee is 730 euros, but because of the discount, you get to pay 580 euros. So that's 400 at the start of the program, and then 180 1 month into the program. If you're paying in Canadian dollars, you're paying 1,125 Canadian dollars. So no, that's the full amount. So to pay the discounted price, you pay 900 Canadian dollars. That's 600 1 month at the start of the program to get into the program, then 300 1 month into the program. And lastly, if you're paying in naira, the full amount is 900,000 naira. But for the discount, you get to pay 720,000 naira. So that's 500,000 naira to get into the program, and then 220,000 naira to balance up 1 month into the program. So to make payments, you can use this. You can scan the barcode on my screen, or you can use the link that my colleague is dropping in the chat to make payments. Remember that this discounted price, the discounted offer, is for the first 20 people. Once we max out on the first 20 people, we are moving into every other person is going to be paying the full amount. So to avoid that, you need to make your payments right now, literally like right now. All right, you need to make your payments right now. So at this junction, if you have questions, please use the raise hand icon or drop your questions in the chat, and I'm going to pick it up from there and answer your questions. All right, so this is some of the people that have gone through our program, right? But the particular one that I would like to show you is one of our participants that has gotten multiple jobs literally after going through this program. Multiple jobs literally after going through this program. So what I'm going to do is play his video so that we can look at it together. I'm just going to click on please hold on. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, just so we can see what he has to say very quickly. So again, if you have any questions, we are going to close in the next 5 to 10 minutes. If you have any questions, please drop it in the chat and I am going to answer every of your questions. Okay, so I'm going to reshare my screen and let's see what Victor has to say. All right.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victor. I'm an HR professional with about 3 years of experience that cut across the media, consulting, and aviation industry. And I'm here to share about my story with Analytics. So, sometimes in 2020, just before COVID started, I began to nurse the desire to upskill and upscale my career. And then it felt like data analytics was something I could do. So, I went for an event somewhere in Lagos, Nigeria. And at that event, I met Adeza Suleiman. He just took us on practical Excel. Classes I've had because it was very easy to understand and it was relatable. So what happened was that after the event, I met with Adeza and I got his contact and then we kept in touch. Fast forward to 2022, I was now at a point where I really felt I needed to take a step beyond the desire of wanting to upskill and upscale. And then I reached out to Tenalytics to take the master in HR analytics course. So we started the course in October and it was very fascinating. I like the fact that
All right, guys, I think that was a network disruption. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and, share my screen. Again, like Damilola mentioned, if you have any questions, please drop your questions immediately, okay? Drop your questions in the chat. All right, I can see Paul. Paul's question is, in US, okay? Paul's question is in US. I can see a lot of question marks. In the US, we keep 2 to 3 jobs to make ends meet. In these jobs, can one keep 2 to 3 jobs at the same time? I think, oh, okay. Can one keep, if it's possible, how do one manage it? All right. So I believe you have been able to, get to know our founders, right? Our founders have different jobs that they work on, right? So yes, definitely, Paul, you can keep more than 1 job, all right? So the advice is you can keep at least 2 jobs, okay, depending on, the nature of work that the company is throwing at you, all right? You can keep 2 jobs, okay? So there are things called contract jobs, right? You have a real job that you work full-time and you also have contract jobs. These contract jobs are things that you can work on remotely, okay? There are things that you can work on. There are jobs that you can work on remotely while you work from home and actually give your full engagement to your full-time job, all right? So it's very, very much possible to do what? It's very much possible to work on 2 jobs at a time. There are a lot of roles out there in the US, so you can definitely apply to as many as possible, all right? So you don't want to go there and say, oh, I want to limit myself to just 1 job. If you can get 2, if you can get 3, I'm not sure how life would be if you have 3 jobs. Maybe you just be working round the clock, 24 hours, working and working, but at least 2 jobs, very much good and healthy. But yes, you can get 3 jobs as well. So if you want 3 jobs, you can get 3 jobs, depending on how well you can manage the situation. Okay. All right. So I can see more questions here. Okay. I want to ask a question, please, from Mokwe. Says, for someone who is looking forward into the HR analytics, is it possible to get a job? I'm sorry, I can't see this properly. Is it possible to get a job that offers visa sponsorship on HR analytics? All right, so right now it's a little bit difficult, right? It's a little bit difficult to get visa sponsorship, but not that it's not possible. It's not impossible, because a couple of people are still getting visa sponsorship in different areas, all right? So if you're outside the country and you're trying to transition, trust me, you are definitely going to be getting those visa sponsorship. But if you're coming out of Nigeria and trying to get a job, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than someone that is already in the country. So if you're outside the country, you are definitely going to be getting visa sponsorships in the area of HR analytics. All right. So I think that answers that. Hi, Damilola. I think Damilola is back on the call. Damilola, we have a lot of questions. So yeah.
All right, thank you, Mary. I'm just going to quickly finish this up and then
background, it was important to leverage a tech skill that would allow me to practice in my domain knowledge. Perfect, which is why I went for the Masters in HR Analytics course. So we started a course in October, and then sometimes in November, I decided to apply for jobs and to see how I could position myself for a new opportunity. And guess what happened? One of the roles I applied for, I had to work on case studies, I had to do some things and all that. And you would believe me that all that I was taught in class, even as a beginner at that time, was sufficient for me to land that job. You don't know how happy I was to think that. I was just thinking of transitioning to tech, didn't know how to go about it, started classes in a few weeks, and of course, I was able to land a job in that little time. And I've been able to transition my career. So far, even the experience of the class was amazing. The facilitators are very simple. They are tender-hearted. They know how to explain. They are very patient. I like the fact there's also a live class, which means that I can participate and then go back to the recordings after the sessions. I'm eventually glad that if I look at myself between October and now, I've definitely grown in my analytics skills, creating my dashboard. Of course, I'm still a learner, but I'm growing. Here's my point, and I'm trying to.
All right, so to watch the rest of the video, we can always check out our YouTube channel to get all that Victor has to say. At this junction, I'm going to be taking questions. I can see a couple of questions in the chat. I'm not sure if I missed on any. If I have, Mary, you can please re-highlight. But what is the cost of the program? So to get into the HR Analytics program, I'm just going to go ahead and show again the payment page, right? Okay, so the HR Analytics program is originally $750, but if you're going to be joining now, if you're going to be making your payments now, to join the class, you pay $400 to get started, and then 1 month into the program, you pay the remaining $200. That's what the payment plan is. Depending on where you are, I'm not sure that is stated, but we also have like payments, breakdown for each of the other countries. So how many Saturdays in total? Now, Ola Bioye, the program is for 4 months, 3 months of live classes, 1 month of internship. So all weekends for 4 months. That's how long it takes, all right? So I'm not sure what this person is answering to. For someone, okay, for someone outside the country, how would the person have it? Okay, the internship is virtual. Just the same way we have the virtual classes, we have the virtual internship. So you can do all of these things from the comfort of your home without even moving an inch. All you need is your laptop, steady internet supply, steady light supply, and you're good to go. Also, all the classes are recorded. Okay, so if you have any party that you need to attend on a Saturday, you're not going to be in class, you get the full recording just to augment for your absence. So how is the internship done? Ebere, so this is the process that it takes. We have partnered with some companies outside of, different companies in different places to get their data. So it is this data that we get. We just change, some things like the name, and then this is what you're going to be working on in your internship phase. All right. So it's going to be, you're going to be saying, okay, you intern with analytics, but the kinds of projects I need to be working on are real world projects. All right. So you get that actual real world experience that we've promised you. All right. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Iberi, I hope that answers your question. All right. Do we have any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions before we call it a day? So again, please note, classes will be starting 6th of July. And for everybody that wants to be a part of this program, you need to make your payment as soon as possible, because it's just for the first 20 people or 30 people rather. And once we've meet that target, every other person falls back to paying the full amount. So at this junction, we're going to be bringing this session to a close. That's been an amazing session. And one thing I would love to see is everybody here in class. We're going to be having sessions, more sessions on one-on-one sessions where you get to ask professionals more questions. So feel free to sign up for any of these sessions, just so if you have more questions or you need clarity on any of these things. All right. So thank you so much to everyone that came here. Thank you for staying to the end, and I hope to see you guys in class. Have a very lovely day or night. Bye, everyone. And thank you for coming.